Most games these days treat you like you can't find your way to the toilet without a glowing arrow and 5 map markers. Hell is Us assumes you own a brain and forces you to use it constantly. No hand-holding, no GPS, no waypoints. Entire puzzles and mysteries can go unsolved if you're not exploring, reading the clues and connecting the dots. The studio said they wanted to make a game that brought us back to 90s game design, inspired by games like System Shock, classic Zelda, early Metroid Prime, back when exploration wasn't formulaic and games trusted you to actually think. This is what we've been asking for years, a game that doesn't treat you like an idiot, and it's here from a 60-person AA team who had the backbone to stick to their vision and do something different.
Look at you, compromised by your emotions.
I won't stop.
Hell is Us is a third-person action-adventure set in Hadea, a country torn apart by civil war and a mysterious event called the Calamity. You're Remy, searching for your missing parents while uncovering what's actually happening to this place. The core gameplay loop is simple: explore, fight twisted creatures, piece together clues from notes, conversations, and environmental storytelling. But exploration isn't just padding between fights, it's the core of the whole game. You're searching for clues to help you solve investigations, mysteries, and good deeds to help the citizens of Hadea, which the game is absolutely littered with. 25 hours for the main story, 40 if you want to solve everything, and believe me when I say, if you need a glowing arrow to feel safe, this isn't the game for you. So here's what you're getting into. No waypoints, no quest markers, no fast travel, no minimap with convenient icons telling you where the good stuff is hidden. Progress comes from reading your notes, listening to NPCs, and actually paying attention to the world around you. Proper environmental storytelling that matters. But here's the crazy bit: 10 to 15 hours of content is completely missable if you're not exploring properly. If you miss a throwaway comment from an NPC, you might never find the answer to that puzzle. Skip reading a journal entry, good luck on solving that mystery 3 zones later. And if you get stuck, there's no quest helper to bail you out, no hints. You dig through your journal, reread your notes, backtrack to areas where you might have missed something. I spent 2 full hours on a simple puzzle because the answer was right in front of me and I just couldn't see it. And it goes even deeper than that. The devs, Rogue Factor, wanted to make a game that rewards old school curiosity. They've even added in puzzles and hidden content that they expect will go unsolved for months and need the community to work together to figure it out. And man, I love that so much. Right, so the combat, and there's a lot of it. I'll be honest, in the demo I didn't rate it at all. It felt very clunky to me, but something's changed between then and release. I don't know if they've tweaked it or I just learned how it works, because now it actually feels really good. It kind of has Souls-like elements to it, I guess, without the masochism. Dodge, parry, stamina management. You run out of stamina and you're exhausted. Slower attacks, weaker dodges, and you have a drone sidekick who can stun enemies, spin attack, loads of different abilities to experiment with there. There's 3 difficulty settings, so you can also dial it into how you prefer. And credit to them, the combat is solid and it is a real challenge, especially when you're surrounded by groups of enemies. But where it becomes a bit disappointing for me is the enemy variety. It could be a bit better. There's 5-ish core creature types with different emotional variants which are tied to the story. By the end I was getting kind of tired of fighting the same movesets, the same enemies over and over. Some human enemies would have been nice. But, and it's a big but, while the enemies might get repetitive, your options don't. So the progression system and build options is where the game really opens up. On the surface, it looks fairly straightforward. A few weapon types, basic upgrade paths. But if you dig a bit deeper, there's some serious variety hiding underneath. Everything ties back into the exploration. So there's 50 plus glyphs which are scattered around the world. Most of them are completely missable if you're not solving mysteries and hunting secrets. Drone upgrades as well that you'll never find without piecing together different clues and exploring the world. And here's how that works. So you can upgrade your weapons at the blacksmith, and once you upgrade a weapon to level 2 you can slot in up to 3 different glyphs. And the clever bit is the weapons then get tied to different limbic spheres which are central to the overall story, and each sphere dictates which glyphs you can use, and there's so many different glyphs to experiment with. And then you can study books that unlock higher blacksmith tiers, but only if you find them exploring off the beaten path. And it's another example of how the game pays off for those curious enough to see what secrets secrets it hides. But the real magic is the build variety, so you can build ranged builds with fire projectiles, abilities that pull enemies closer, limbic energy erupting from the ground. Each weapon can feel completely unique depending on how you set up your glyphs. And on top of that, your drone is also fully customizable with different abilities, so there's lots to experiment with. But the real genius of the game for me is the exploration and the sense of discovery. You'll find research items that just look like random collectibles, a bit of lore maybe, but later in the game you can actually use these for research, analyze them, and then suddenly you've got coordinates to hidden vaults packed with glyphs and gear that you'd never find otherwise. It's proper discovery. It's not a map covered in question marks. It just lets you stumble onto things yourself. And I haven't played a game that rewards curiosity like this in ages. It reminds me a lot of Elden Ring in how much it trusts you to actually explore. The game just rewards you for paying attention. And by 20 hours in, mysteries are interconnecting across 15 hours of previous play. You finally got answers to a puzzle that you couldn't solve or an area that you couldn't access. Your memory becomes as important as your weapon. My advice to anyone playing this would be play it without guides, without tutorials. All of the answers are there if you look for them. That's the point, and they've nailed it. The atmosphere of the world itself is bleak. War-torn Hadea feels properly oppressive, violent, depressing in all the right ways. The sound design and the music nail this feeling of a world that's genuinely broken by conflict and whatever this calamity actually is. Fairly strong voice acting throughout. Remy's a solid protagonist, well voiced, drives the narrative forward. Overall though, I'd say the characters are fairly one note, but honestly the mystery itself kept me far more engaged than the people. The intrigue stayed high for 25 hours, the story kept me guessing, and the ending ties up everything nicely. 3 main acts, though Act 3 did feel a bit shorter, and like a bit of a missed opportunity, we could have spent a bit more time in that area. But the world itself, consistently bleak, everything feels cohesive, the civil war backdrop, the mysterious calamity, even how your parents are connected to it all. It all connects back to the gameplay and the exploration. The story and mechanics actually talk to each other instead of just existing in separate universes. The writing itself is good, it's not the best we've ever seen, but the story delivers. But the real win here though is that environmental storytelling. The detailed investigations and the mysteries tell the real story throughout. Performance was very solid on PC, despite frame rate drops in larger areas and a bit of texture pop-in during cutscenes, but nothing game-breaking, no major bugs, it just works. For me, Hell Is Us is what happens when developers trust your intelligence. It's a true thinking person's game that rejects everything modern AAA design stands for, and it works. No waypoints, no hand-holding, no safety nets, hours of missable content that rewards curiosity over checklist chasing. Rogue Factor had a different approach, and in their own words, we wanted to do a game that came from our guts, a game for video game enthusiasts, going old school and bringing those cool feelings we had back in the day with that modern recipe. And that's the difference here. Passion and risk versus spreadsheet profit driven design. This game to me proves there's still demand for games that respect your intelligence. We're starving for actual experiences that trust us to think, explore, fail, and figure things out. We've been asking for this for years and Hell Is Us delivers it. And once again, it's a small studio bringing the magic to the table. If you're looking for a game that treats you like a functioning adult with an IQ above 50, then I strongly recommend Hell Is Us. It's one of the best new IPs I've played in years. Thank you to Rogue Factor for giving me the opportunity to play the game and write this review, and thank you for watching. If you want more game reviews and news that's honest, to the point, and doesn't waste your time, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Thanks again, I'll see you in the next one.